Welcome to episode 44 of a freezing day of Undrafted Amateurs.
It got cold.
Very fast.
It got real cold.
Very
Because I was in Texas
fast.
this weekend, the great country of Texas.
Or what the heck were you doing in Texas?
Went to the A&M South Carolina game, and well, I'll get into that in a second. But all this to say, I mean, jacket and everything now, it was like 70, no, it was probably like 80 something degrees and really humid there for Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday it dropped, and then I get off the plane here, it's like 45 degrees.
Yeah, it's going to be like this.
Flip side of it is the fall is in full color right now, and it looks amazing.
It does look amazing.
I noticed that just driving in here right now.
Yeah.
I was like, this looks
I was
awesome.
on a walk the other day, and it was like, wow. I mean, the colors are vibrant.
Vibrant. And what a healthy boy. Doing your hot boy walk?
Nah, yeah. I'd start walking Becca's dog, so more like a jog.
A light jog?
Yeah, my exercise has been non-existent the last 3 months.
Last month for me
2
has
months.
been bad. Month and change, because when I got COVID, that knocked me off. Then it was trying to catch back up work-wise and travel, because I was in Columbia, South Carolina, not the country. A lot of people think the country. It's interesting.
Yeah,
like going to Columbia.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Makes sense until you look at like 95 signs or 85 signs. It's like to Columbia. Anyway, so I was gone for a week and a half after just recovering from COVID. So I got to get on it. I'm getting tubby.
You are, man.
I am hibernating for the winter.
You should. Why don't you not work out for 6 months? See what happens.
I wonder how long it would take to come back.
Do you shave the middle of your mustache?
No.
You have to.
No, it just grows like this. It's
There's no way it just grows like that. You don't have any hair for half an inch.
It's like a quarter of an inch. Come on. A third of an inch. No, it's half an inch probably. Centimeter.
You definitely shave that.
No, I swear.
You do shave that. Come on.
No, I've never been able to grow it there. Probably never will. Not that I can really grow it anywhere else, but definitely can't grow in the middle.
I would put a lot of
just
money
noticed
that
that
you shaved. Yeah, I've never.
Every single time I've grown the mustache out, it just doesn't grow right there.
I've never noticed that. Literally, till right now, I was looking. I was like, he shaved the middle of his mustache.
Yeah, that was the other Texas thing happening. Mustache had to.
You've changed, man. You've changed.
Changed. Nice socks, by the way.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, it's Halloween today. We're recording on Halloween.
We
Where's
are
the
recording
candy?
on Halloween. You don't get any candy
Whatever,
because we haven't worked out. We haven't earned it. But it's Tuesday. It's Halloween. But so Texas trip we're trying to go to away games. So we flew into Austin, and I just got to say, UT Austin was sick. We walked around, awesome campus, and then we saw some people walking into the stadium. So we're like, let's walk in the stadium. And it's for all sports, like their athletic hall of fame, essentially, that's in the stadium. And I'm just saying, like, if I were a recruit, I don't know how you go there and not want to go to Texas. Like, I was getting kind of swayed. I was like, dang, Texas is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Way to go, Arch Manning.
What do you think about, have you ever been to Alabama?
I haven't. I think that's on next year's list. I'm trying to do maybe Oklahoma and Alabama next year. But of the stadiums I went into, UT Austin was up on the list. We didn't obviously stay for the game because if they were a day and night game, we could maybe try to do both. But went on to College Station, it was cool. It was pretty much exactly what I was expecting, though. Like super flat in the middle of nowhere. The stadium, though, was awesome. I think it holds like 102,000. The yell leaders were weird, as expected. It was a cult. For everything that people are saying about Texas A&M being a cult, it is a cult. It was cool.
Really?
It was fine.
They still like Johnny Manziel, you think?
Oh, they love Johnny Manziel.
Do they?
Yeah.
Wow. I like him too, so.
Yeah.
So, but the stadium was sweet? Like
The stadium itself was awesome. It was big. So it's a little bit bigger than Neyland in Tennessee. I wasn't, honestly, maybe it's a hot take, maybe it's not. I wasn't a crazy big fan of Tennessee Stadium. It's just kind of old. It's spread out more. It's not as like spread out as like the Big House in Michigan or something that wise. But this one was clearly like a normal rectangular stadium where they have the sides and then they closed off the ends. And so I felt like it was taller and then like more rectangular instead of oval, if that makes sense.
Taller, more rectangular. Okay.
Like if you think about it, like if it's on each end zone, and side, and then they round it off instead of a stadium that's built as a full circle or a rounded out one. And so
it's kind of like
Tech,
cool. Right? Texas built like that.
Did you say Texas or Tech?
Tech.
Virginia. Yeah, but a lot of times, like Williams-Brice is like that. A lot of those stadiums aren't like fully built up in the same way as this one, where like maybe they hold 70, 80,000 and this one's 102. But it was loud. It was a day game. Cool stadium.
Loud?
Cool
Like how
campus.
loud?
Didn't have a decibel reader out, so
Okay.
that obviously changes it a little bit, you know. Wish it could be like 104.
Did you notice the student section?
The student section looked like it was the entire side, which was crazy.
Wow.
Like in South Carolina, it's the end zone. This one was down like along the sideline. Because in South Carolina, they do it cool. They have a point system to getting tickets. And so I think it was like as a freshman, you start out with 3 points, sophomore 4, junior 6, senior 8. And then every sporting event you go to, you rack up points. So the very first game was actually Texas A&M, and they came in, and I missed that one because I was a freshman. But I went to everything. I went to cross country. I went to track. I went to some equestrian events. Like I went to everything that I could.
Yeah.
And ended up getting like around the top 10 at South Carolina. But it's cool, like you move up the student section and like get it into like every event you want. Because there was only like 10,000 seats in the student section at the time. And if you know,
only
like
10,000?
Yeah.
That's a lot, I feel like.
But if in undergrad there's 25,000 students, and then you count grad school.
Almost half get tickets.
Well, if you count grad school too, that's like a third of them get tickets.
I feel like that's a lot. Maybe not. Maybe,
well, I guess compared to A&M is what I'm saying, where it looked like, I mean, their student section looked like it was 20-something thousand, maybe 30.
I wonder how many students they have. 40? They have 40? Nah, they could have 40.
We're just going to guess. We're not going to look it up.
Nah, I don't want to look it up.
Anyway, other things happening.
That sounds fun, though.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Big fan of it. The misery for my life continues in sports. Got to put the qualifier the rest of life's great.
Tough time to be Joe.
Since the Braves lost, no one else has won. In the game itself, South Carolina, not a good team, and a very injured, not good team, was playing a not good Texas A&M team that gave millions of opportunities to us. Just time and time again, did nothing with it. It's brutal. I feel so bad for Spencer Rattler.
Right? He's the only, probably one of the only good pieces.
He just keeps throwing good passes that hit off a receiver's hands. I think he threw, this wasn't this week, but one of the past interceptions he threw went straight through one of our receivers' hands.
How frustrating is that as a QB? When you throw it, it's perfect.
It's like in the Alabama game 2 weeks, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, when it bounced off his chest? It was a pick in the end zone.
Dude, if you're the quarterback,
that's
you would
tough.
see a bad side of me. I would light in YOLO Atlanta Braves hat wearing self.
And shout out Cooper's Old Time Barbecue.
Oh, was that
Got
good?
there in
good
College
spot?
Station. It was a great spot. Very nice people.
College Station.
Everyone, that's one thing I got to say. Everyone is so nice there.
In Texas?
Or at least in
Is everything bigger there?
Yes. Very, very true. Everything.
I've never been to Texas.
And we got to go to UT Austin.
Austin seems really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a city, just like period.
It was interesting. It's a mix of a lot of things in Austin.
Yeah.
But some really cool spots. There's like this spring that was essentially like a public pool. I guess you probably pay like $10 to go to. But it was a spring that they had dammed
like
up and had
bathtub?
lifeguards. No, I mean, it's probably 200 meters long, 300 meters long.
How many feet is that?
Like 1,000 feet if it's 300 meters.
Is it 5 meters to a foot these days? 260 yards, give or take.
Sure. Or 200, 300 yards. Who knows? I didn't pull out a measuring stick. I didn't even use a laser.
How many first downs do you think?
I don't know. Were they 12-yard first downs?
10.
10.
Yeah.
Huh.
But they were 8-meter first downs.
Anyway.
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares? Who cares about the metric system?
I feel bad for your sports teams.
Feel bad for me.
I don't feel bad for you, but I do feel bad for your sports teams because as we're going to get into it, 49ers season's over.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
The Braves obviously went home early. Let's talk about some updates with me, though.
Well, yeah, what's up with you?
Dude, I played in a golf tournament on Saturday.
Good
last
golf?
Saturday. Me and Andrew did. Some pretty good golf, man. Some pretty good golf. Hit some good shots.
Mm-hmm.
Putting, actually, with that new putter, made so many like 4 or 5 footers.
Really?
I was so happy about that. Because, I'm good to miss 25% of those.
I'm good to make 12%.
Yeah. Of like, if it's like a 5-foot putt. So that was good. We had some great shots, great time. Good Southern golf tournament. I mean, they gave you drink tickets. You played 27 holes. They fed you lunch and dinner. Dinner was, of course, fried chicken, red potatoes, green beans. I mean, sweet tea.
Mm-hmm.
Just the Southern classic.
Wow. Love that.
Yeah, man. But other than that, just try not to throw up, Just moving quick, but trying not to have motion
It's the
sickness.
second time you've said that about throwing up.
What?
When you texted me, you're like, what if I throw up on camera?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is this like a deep fear of yours?
No, I was actually kind of thinking it was funny that I said that, and you were like, well, then you'll just do it on camera. And I was like, okay.
I said, then there's a gross video of you throwing up on camera.
Yeah, I was like, that's no fun.
That's no fun. Well, then go ahead and throw up on camera. Whatever. Fine. Moving. Well, did you see Matthew Perry died?
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently he's playing pickleball.
Pickleball?
Hours before, but I don't know.
Because wasn't he in like a hot tub or something?
I don't know what that. I don't.
Anyway, one of the friends is gone. That's
what a
sad.
good guy. I mean, he seemed like a good actor.
Yeah. I was kind of like sad about it. I was like, dang, that's a bummer.
He's a big actor.
Yeah. Just the
pretty
friends.
young too.
One of the
54,
friends.
I think.
Yeah.
50.
Anyway, what we've really got to get into sport-wise is the Michigan cheating scandal.
Ooh.
The sign stealing.
All right. So what do you think about the statement before we get in? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Okay. First off, everyone, like, sign stealing is part of sports.
100%.
Because people have been comparing it to the Astros. So go in there to that one. In baseball, sign stealing is part of the game. It's fun to try to pick up. It's not only fun, it's like part of the game to try to pick up a sign, signal it to your team, and get an advantage. That's just sports.
We used to do that.
Yeah, like that's what you're taught to. There's literally nothing wrong with that. Where it was wrong is when you're using electronics and then like signaling in, and then especially if the person on the receiving end has it. So in football, similar, but it seems different because, again, everyone's stealing signs, but you're not supposed to use technology and you're not supposed to go to scout out games for it. Which this is I'm interested by this because you can see signs when you're watching game film too.
Correct.
It just seems like such a weird...
That's, in my eyes, it's so stupid.
Weird line.
Yeah.
And it also seems like there's probably a lot of people that are cheating.
Correct. You think
But they're acting like Michigan, like this is the greatest scandal to ever hit college football.
Dude, that is what the freaking media does and people do. They're like, oh my gosh, how could they ever? And then it's like 100 other teams are doing it. It's like Michigan was, I guess so. How did they get caught again?
I don't know. I think it was one of the other Big Ten teams reported about it. Because one of Michigan's coaches, like lower ranks, Connor Stallions, was the one who's going to all the different games and supposedly videoing on his phone.
So I don't know. I honestly don't pay attention much to stuff like this unless it gets like, pretty prominent, because it's like, I feel like a lot of teams are doing it. And also I don't really like I said, unless they're like truly doing stuff they shouldn't be doing, like videoing inside of practices and like, I sure, we'll draw a line there, but do not, if someone's at a game, right, in national television, they're all freaking nationally televised, and they look at like the film and the coaches and they record, like, how is that a cheating scandal?
It is against the rules. So by that definition, whether it should be or shouldn't be.
Dumb rules.
Yeah, I get that. But I guess my point is, it just feels like there's probably a lot of teams doing it, and it doesn't. Some people are saying it doesn't seem like a big deal. Some people are saying that there's no actual proof, and if there is proof, then it's a big deal.
Yep.
And then some people are acting like the sky is falling over this. You know what I mean? I'm like,
get over it, dude. Like they're not one of the best teams in college football because this is what they do. They have great players, they have great coaching. Like
potentially could have 18 players drafted this year, which would be the most of any team ever.
Yeah.
Insane. One thing I did think was interesting, I've got a video of it, is Rutgers coach at halftime. This was, I guess, before this came out, had this to say.
Coach, 4 penalties for your team in the first half, some that cost you. How do you clean that up in the second half?
Well, there's some stuff going on out there, so we just got to slow it down a little bit. There's some things going on that aren't right as well, so we'll talk about how to handle it.
Just kind of like interesting at the time. Then now everyone's talking about, did they know about the Michigan sign stealing? Then the other thing they've said is, I guess they did it against every.
That could have been about anything. Though.
Yeah, but we're in the game of kind of fun to play into it.
Yeah, 100%.
But what's interesting is they were saying that they scouted out all the Big Ten schools. They scouted out the opponents they could potentially be playing in the college football playoff. And then apparently they either didn't do it for TCU, this is rumors, of course, or TCU was leading or like had an idea and were using decoy signs, which is an interesting theory because TCU beat Michigan. And then we saw what happened when Michigan played Georgia, or when TCU played Georgia. It was just like a slaughterhouse. And so I'm like, that could be fascinating if they beat Michigan because Michigan thought they had intel.
Yeah.
And they were operating on the intel and it didn't work because it was false.
Wow.
Could be interesting. Because, I mean, it is interesting thinking back to the playoffs last year. I'm like, how did TCU beat Michigan?
Yeah, and they also had how many seniors? They were like, I mean, that was TCU's year if they were ever
well, I guess what I'm saying is how did they beat Michigan and then get destroyed by Georgia as bad as they did? Like that to me felt like a mismatch because
it did. Yeah, you're right.
Georgia and Michigan felt like similar teams. And so to beat one and then just get completely destroyed by one, I was like, I don't really buy into too much stock by it, but it's interesting.
That is interesting. That was a bad college football game.
Yeah, TCU Georgia was depressing, but you remember you were high on TCU going into that.
I was, man. Yeah.
Also, potentially one of the worst takes you've had on the podcast.
Probably not the worst, but potentially.
It's sad. We haven't even done this a year yet.
Unbelievable.
Oh, and then the last couple things with it is Connor Stallions deleted his Venmo, which apparently he was paying some people to go to the games through him. That's an interesting one. Throw it in there. Then the other one is South Carolina got wrapped up into this now.
How?
Some coaches, I guess, came out and said that another team was benefiting from Michigan sign stealing endeavors. And so they didn't say too much about it, but then the internet started doing a little research on it, as the internet always does.
Yep.
The internet's always undefeated. And because they were scouting against teams that Michigan would potentially be playing, or allegedly potentially be playing. So South Carolina at the end of last year was at this game, was miserable, went down to the swamp and played just abysmally. And then come back and beat Tennessee and then beat Clemson, which both of those teams were fringe college football playoff teams coming down the line. Mm-hmm. So they're saying now that Michigan was scouting on those and then to keep them on the outs, gave South Carolina, I guess, a little information that South Carolina then used against Tennessee and Clemson.
That would be awesome.
You would love that. Also, their argument, though, was that defensively it helps you knowing, like, you're able to shut down teams because you know the plays that they're about to, it's run, it's pass, like, easy to stop there.
Yeah.
South Carolina allowed 35 against Tennessee. They just scored like 60-something. And the problem in Florida was they scored like 6 points. So, could just be.
Could be a fluke, or it could be the Michigan cheating scandal.
And all of a sudden, Christian went from being like, you know what? I don't think that this is just stupid to this is the greatest scandal on earth.
Oh my gosh. I need to start doing this. I don't even know what I'd do it on, but it sounds fun. Who knows, man? Who knows if it's smoke and mirrors or if it, because like you said, if they actually do know, all right, this is a run up the left side, this is a run here.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. NCAA, though.
Blow coverage on this one.
Yeah. I mean, what are they? They're stupid. They're not going to do anything. If this is real and this is as big as people are saying, they're probably not going to do anything. But then JMU is not going to go to a bowl because they moved up to harder competition. The NCAA is a joke. Everything's a joke.
Yeah. JMU should be in the national championship, to be honest. Or
might do better in TCU.
Honestly, they're going to do better than South Carolina.
Probably. We're so bad. So sad.
Well, hopefully next week we have more updates.
Yeah.
On the Michigan cheating scandal. They did rescind that guy's offer, Harbaugh.
That was interesting because he was going to be the highest paid.
Well, because they almost have to do this crap. I can go on and on about this PC stuff, dude. They have to act a certain way, or the media and the internet and the optics.
Or did they rescind the offer because Harbaugh is going to be gone anyway and they didn't want to look like idiots throwing money and not being able to keep him?
Or they cheat, or, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Never know which way the optics work.
What, do you think he's going to the NFL?
Who knows?
Nah, I don't think so.
No, I mean, he might.
Like his brother?
He keeps trying to go there. I think college, to me, it doesn't seem like he loves all the garbage that accompanies college coaches now.
Right.
Like the recruiting, the keeping players, like that just sucks. I wouldn't.
Not
like
the
that.
NIL.
It's the recruiting based off of NIL, which isn't supposed to happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Or it's more of even like with the portal and the fact that I can come get you because of that and you come this way, where I think now I guess they're eliminating to one school, but you're having to recruit new players, keep your current players, and then even players that you don't think are leaving. That's what's interesting. It's like in the past, it makes sense to transfer if you're not getting playing time.
Correct.
If it's not a good fit, like a few things like that.
You could be starting quarterback for freaking Kentucky and Oklahoma calls, and you're like, I'm going to Oklahoma.
Yeah, and it really, a lot of times, doesn't even make that much of a difference.
Right.
It's not going to change your NFL stuff. A lot of times, it doesn't make that much of a difference, NIL.
Kentucky, Will Levis?
Will Levis looked good. He looked real good.
Oh, my goodness.
But talk about feel good. Let's hit up Iceman.
What's up, everybody? This week's Unsung Hero goes out to Kelvin Kiptum, a Kenyan distance runner. Kelvin has just established the new world record mark for the marathon. Yeah, 26.2 miles. Kelvin's new time is 2 hours and 35 seconds, with which some easy math can tell you 13.1 miles per hour averaged over that pace. Now, Kelvin is a more impressive story because of the fact that, he's been running marathons for only 3 years, and he has now established himself as the fastest person to ever do it, which is just ridiculous. But if it really doesn't click with you just how impressive that is, you can go on to Lad Bible's account where they had average Joes just running against a treadmill at 13.1 miles per hour to try and keep up with the pace Kelvin did. And you got to remember, this is his average pace. He was going faster at times and slower at times. But nonetheless, it is just ridiculous. So Kelvin, keep running, man. This is incredible. We can't wait to see you break the 2 hour mark. And for keeping us humble, you're this week's Unsung Hero.
Wow, 35 seconds away, dude.
From the sub
2 hour. Holy smokes.
I guess like someone's done that as a time trial, right?
Yeah.
Just not an official race.
Not an official marathon.
The treadmill thing was making me think. One of my buddies was in New York once, and they had at a time a treadmill set up at the pace of, I think it was the fastest American marathon runner.
So they run like what? It's a 4:20 on average the mile. Like I think it's like a 4-minute 20-second mile for 26 miles.
Yeah, so they had a treadmill, like he was saying with this, just set up in Times Square. It was like a big treadmill, though, not like a normal one. And just to see how long people could keep up with the pace. And like some people are a minute, some people can't even like take 2 steps at the pace. And it's just like some people can do a mile. Some people, I mean, think about how many people can do a mile though at that. Like my fastest mile ever is like a 6 flat.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's probably...
I'm also not a runner, but still.
Yeah, but there's probably, if you could do a mile in under 5 minutes, I forgot what the statistic is, but it's like a tenth of maybe 1%. Like it's under sub 5 is so
and then you're
stupid.
just holding that?
Stupid. Well, I'm saying like for a mile, like if you run under a 5-minute mile.
Right, and I'm saying, and then you're holding that for 26.2 miles?
I don't get it, man. I don't.
That is insane to me. But well done, runner man. Well done, runner man. But since we mentioned it, should we jump into the Tennessee game?
Yes.
We talked about it last week. I one of my picks was Tennessee covering, and I was like, I think they're going to beat the Falcons. And they did. But man, I did not think Will Levis was going to throw for 4 TDs.
I mean, he looked like a savvy little vet out there. Dude, Will Levis, gosh, watch him be the freaking quarterback pick too. Everyone's talking like Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and it's freaking Will Levis.
The one that fell out of the first round because you know what? Draft bias in the quarterbacks. Yeah. And he got to sit for a little bit. All the things we've talked about.
Oh, dude, my money's on Will Dog because also DeAndre Hopkins went off on my bench, which was fun, but
I was talking to my buddy, and he was complaining about D-Hop this year, and I was like, I think he's going to have a good game soon, and he went off.
Yeah, well, I'm starting next week. We're playing this week, by the way.
Ooh,
I need it.
Patty Mahomes needs to play better.
I'm 4-4. I got to get this win. Dude, I won like this week. Chris had, and he's probably going to listen to this, but he had Devontae Adams, and I had Gibbs Monday night.
And he was
and he was up 11 or 12 or something. So, like, I mean, Adams should get, on average, at least 11 points close to Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs got 30, Adams got 2. I won by like 17 points.
Yeah, dude, you've been complaining about Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's gone off the last 2 weeks.
Oh, my God, my shooter.
So, he looks really good. Last thing about the Falcons-Titans game, though, I'm not sure how I feel about the Falcons.
So, at first, I thought they were going to be a legit team.
I don't love Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, well, they benched him now. Dude, Falcons, I thought at first they were Like the NFC South at first, like the first 4 games.
Yeah, because you
were
remember
like 3-1. It was
we
like,
had overreactions and we're saying some that we believe and some we don't.
Yeah.
And I was like, the NFC South doesn't suck. I don't actually believe it, but it doesn't suck. And then they lose everything since then.
Everything. No one's going to make the
bad.
playoffs in the NFC South.
Yeah. They're actually banning the division from the playoffs.
Yeah, they are.
The winner can't
even
go.
if you win the division, it's over. But I agree with you. I don't think the Falcons are that good. I don't think the Saints are that good. I don't think the Bucs are that good. Like the Panthers are obviously not the real deal.
But they covered.
But they did cover.
And they won.
Well, I'm 1 for 4 now.
Yeah.
Or 3 for 4.
Are you going to bring it back again this week?
No.
No.
You said you're
going to ride
honestly,
until it
they
broke.
play the Colts. And so Frank Reich gave up the calling to Thomas Brown, who's the offense coordinator. And they freaking finally had some freaking gel on offense. And I'm like, interesting.
That's what we were saying too.
What we were saying.
But I guess we should go to the Lions Raiders since we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
You go first. What are your thoughts on that game?
Raiders are just bad. I mean, I'm just going to say that, right? They're just not this year. They're just not great this year. But dude, I watched Gibbs, and obviously as a fantasy owner of Gibbs, he looked unbelievable.
As a companion, a friend.
He finally was like, oh, this is why he was a top 10 pick as a running back. Like
he looked good.
And the thing with Gibbs, like, yeah, he's a great running back, but he's also a great wide receiver. Like they just line him up sometimes.
And like the Raiders defense isn't terrible.
No,
they've got
it's
some
not
people
terrible.
they paid too. So the
Max
fact,
Crosby.
Yeah, Max Crosby.
Animal.
So what I guess what I'm saying is like he's looking good against good competition there.
Correct.
I am a little bit disappointed with the Lions though. I expected after the Ravens game to come out and blow out the Raiders. And they didn't.
Well,
the pick six hurt.
I was about to say, if Goff doesn't throw that stupid pick six.
But that's part of it. He did throw that pick six.
No, it is. But I'm just saying, like, it was also one play away from it really kind of being, not close.
I know. But it just
it felt not close.
Well, I guess that's my problem is that it felt not close, but they didn't really finish it and make it not close.
And they turned it over. Didn't someone fumble?
They turned it over around like in the red zone. The pick six was across midfield, right?
It was actually on the he threw. It was a 75-yard pick six.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So it was like the 25-yard line. And so then they had some field goals early, and it's just I don't know. I would have loved to see their offense early on.
Their defense is good though.
Their defense is good.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen their offense though be a little bit more dominant.
So here's what worries me with the Lions. Here's the quarterback talk, right? Goff has had a great season so far. In fact, with the Lions, he's just overall a better QB than even when he was with the Rams.
Yeah, did you see it's like one pick every 70 attempts versus like 35.
That. So overall, he's just a more efficient passer, and that's a couple reasons. I like Dan Campbell a lot. I think he's a great coach too. But in like NFL games, of course, if you make that mistake, like that, just whatever that throw was for the pick six, dude, that's a 14-point swing. Think about that. Like if you score a touchdown there, you're in the red zone almost. Like I don't know, man. Goff has always worried me on that side, but hopefully he keeps playing well. If he keeps playing well, I think the Lions will be a serious playoff contender.
I mean, they're definitely a playoff contender.
Yeah, but I think Goff is going to dictate whether they're like.
I guess, are you saying like a playoff team or like a Super Bowl contender?
I would say almost Super Bowl. I would be close. Definitely NFC or sorry, NFC championship.
Yeah, I think
contender.
they win divisional round and then.
Especially if Goff plays well.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think they'll probably make the playoffs either way on a wild card or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's what I thought you were saying with playoff contender. Oh, what game you want to get to next?
I would love. We'll save the 49ers for last because I have some fun things to say. But let's just touch on a couple really quick. I mean, Dolphins, Patriots, once again, pretty simple. I mean, Dolphins took care of business.
Jalen Ramsey, though, having him back.
Well, I mean, Patriots, but yes. Let's see. Saints, Colts. That's just boring. I don't even want to talk about it.
That one, honestly, is pretty boring.
Yeah, I mean,
Texans, Panthers finally getting it done.
Panthers finally got it done. Bryce Young looked pretty good. CJ Stroud didn't look great against the Panthers D.
Over under at 28 points. I love that.
Was it 28?
Yeah, it was 15 and 13. Well, that wasn't the actual over under. That's what the total points were, rather.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then Chargers, Bears. Chargers just take care of business. Chargers pretty solid team. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think they're going to crack or they've cracked in the top 10 yet, but they have so much firepower, man.
Definitely have the potential.
Correct. Ravens just taking care of business against the Cardinals. Cardinals are definitely that sneaky upset team.
Yeah.
Sneaky upset. Dobbs?
They really are that team. Where they're not a top 10 team, obviously, not a top 15 team, but you're going to be nervous every time you see your team playing them, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, if they start clicking on offense, I mean, they scored 24 against the Ravens.
Yeah.
So
Jags, Steelers. Jags, for the first time in Jags history, 5 wins in a month.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay. Cool.
Jags? Did you see the before
Jags
the field goal call, though, of like the offsides on the field goal that got called back? It was a 55-yard field goal attempt that they called the guard offsides. Not a good call.
No.
So it backs it up to a 60-yarder that he misses.
Did he make the 55?
Yeah.
Yeah, he hit it. Yeah.
So who knows? Love the officiating this year.
Yeah.
Conspiracy.
You should start an officiating just rant. Like a 3-minute rant.
Yeah. I'm trying not to, but they're making it hard not to do that. Cowboys look good.
Dude,
hate saying it, but they look good.
Talk about it because they take care of the teams. They're just like the freaking Dolphins, dude. They're just both Dolphins and Cowboys won't make
the Rams
it past.
aren't a terrible team though. Stafford was beat up a lot.
Yes, but dude, once again, Cowboys always or like right now are supposed to beat the Rams.
Yeah. A little bit. I struggle with that argument way more in the NFL than in college.
And I 100% agree with that. But the thing with the NFL is, yes, you're gonna even if you're a great team, you're probably gonna have 2 or 3 losses in the season, right? Mm-hmm. You probably lose to teams that you're quote unquote not supposed to, and you have off weeks, of course. It's the NFL.
Yeah,
but it's also like the Dolphins, for example. They're 0-2 versus top 10 NFL teams.
You keep refusing to acknowledge that there were 0 calls despite egregious penalties. Did you watch the videos that I put in there?
You did, but you can't put the asterisks in 2 week ago game.
You're saying that that's the reason that they can't compete with teams like that. And I'm like, yes, but this is drastically affects the outcome of a game. So
all right,
if you're using it as the argument of why they can't compete, you have to look at all sides of the equation is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you could
the Bills, they got blown out by. That happens.
Right.
Like how many teams have the Eagles lost to the Jets? That doesn't mean the Eagles are a bad team. You know what I mean?
No.
I think it's an off week. The Eagles Dolphins one, I'm like, I think they were very bad calls.
Got to find a way to win, man. No excuses. Got to find a way to win.
I'll move on. I'm not even a Dolphins fan. I enjoy watching them play, but I'm.
If the Dolphins could actually beat a quality NFL team, sure, we'll talk about it.
We'll find out this week.
Just like the 49ers. We'll talk about it at that point. So the Eagles came from behind here. Wasn't a dominant victory. It didn't look like a dominant victory, but they did come from behind. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown connection is looking beautiful. Hurts on a banged up knee.
What's up with the Commanders playing well offensively against the Eagles, though?
I don't know if they just have the Eagles number off, because obviously
the Eagles offense doesn't look great. The defense against the Commanders offense doesn't look well against most teams.
No,
and
they've
played great against the Eagles defense. The Eagles defense is not bad.
No.
It's probably sign stealing.
It has to be.
It has to be.
They're freaking stealing signs. I'm so glad the Jets beat the Giants too.
Yes.
I want the Jets to make the playoffs. I really do. I'm rooting for the Jets.
We got to go to the Vikings game. Another non-contact Achilles injury.
Dude, when I saw that, by the way, he was leading the league in passing yards. By the way, you can say whatever you want about Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins, almost every single team in the NFL would prefer Kirk Cousins versus their regular QB. Maybe 4. Maybe there's 4 teams who wouldn't. Maybe.
AKA he's a top 5 quarterback.
I really, especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just sucks. Sucks for the Vikings, you know.
And then the way that he played without Jefferson too,
yeah. Well, I'm not gonna get you riled up, but
what are you gonna say?
I'll say we wish Purdy could do that without Samuel, right? But anyways, I think
Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback.
Oh, right now for sure.
Yeah,
but it just it sucks for the NFL that they had 2 of their arguably top 5 QBs go down this year. Like Rodgers and
does
Kurt.
It suck for the NFL or should they just stop being the way they are about turf and get rid of turf fields?
I don't know.
Do we feel bad for the NFL or the
Was it a
NFL
turf
caused
field?
this? It's grass, I think, reinforced with
I have
this
no idea, man.
synthetic turf. Anyway, who knows what's happening? It just sucks. I hate seeing injuries. And he hasn't missed a game because of injury in 12 years.
I'll tell you what, Kirk Cousins, Hall of Fame QB. Gotta be, right?
Stud.
He's gotta be one.
My buddy and his girlfriend go to his dad's church in Orlando.
Oh, really?
Didn't even know
Kirk
that it was his dad for a while,
guy.
too.
Really?
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, man, what a guy.
Okay, Chiefs and then Bengals, 49ers.
So, Broncos, I mean, that could be a historic program win there.
I thought after the way they played the Broncos the first game this year, I was like, I think they're going to bounce back. They're going to score a ton of points. They looked bad.
Well, Patrick Mahomes
got me
also
5 points in fantasy.
Apparently, he had a very awful case of the flu. I don't know if you heard this, but apparently they were saying it was worse than Michael Jordan's flu game. I don't know. They were just saying he obviously did not feel great in the game. But even so, 9 points.
Dang. Yeah.
And then, I don't know. I mean, Russell Wilson, he's that guy, MVP level.
He is.
No,
didn't play bad.
Once again, I just think it was an off week for the Chiefs. I put in my picks, I fully expect them to recover pretty hard and pretty fast next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to bet against the Chiefs. Yeah. Then the 49ers, Bengals.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow looked incredible. He had 19 straight completions
to start
the most
the game
of his career.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
He just looked good. He looked on it. He's moving around a lot, which makes it so much harder to stop.
Yes.
49ers defense didn't step up for the most part. And then obviously stuff going on offensively. But the Bengals look like they could be back.
They did. In fact, that game, I said earlier, I was like, that if the Bengals win that game, that's a huge stamp for the Bengals. Being like, hey, the Bengals are back. Also a huge step, I think, on the other side of the 49ers. Now, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions like Stephen A. Smith or anyone like that that's Purdy needs to be out from the 49ers. But what I will say, that's 3 straight for the 49ers, who have not looked good offensively at all since Debo went down. Debo's a great piece. Don't get me wrong.
And haven't looked good defensively either.
So I don't know, if it's more of a game plan thing or more of Purdy doesn't feel comfortable without Debo. I mean, they still have tons of weapons.
So here's the thought on the Purdy conversation. One, I think that this is a sophomore rookie slump kind of a thing where he's in his head right now. I'm going to get into more of the real stuff too, but it's he's been playing pretty flawless through the beginning of his career. Obviously, he's not going to continue that throughout. This is happening at some point or another. They have a bye week this week, which is going to be huge to reset.
Yep.
Yes, Debo, Trent Williams, and all of these things affect it. In the Bengals game, for instance, the 49ers could not stop the Bengals offense the pretty much entire first half.
Well, when Joe Burrow plays like that, I don't know if anyone can stop.
It was very hard to stop.
Bengals offense.
But the flip side of it is the 49ers offense wasn't terrible for a while. What happened, obviously, is when he threw picks on back-to-back throws and then threw another one later in the game. They still had some shots later,
right?
Which is the same thing that happened last week, excluding the against the Vikings, where he played pretty well, not amazing, but pretty well, and then threw some picks at the end. And so, again, I think he's in his head. I think that this happens with quarterbacks. I've never said that I think Brock Purdy's better than a Patrick Mahomes or someone like that, but I think he's a very good quarterback. And I think that he will bounce back. And this is where a quarterback goes from being a good quarterback to a very good or great quarterback. Is because everyone's going to face adversity.
Yeah, 100%.
It's literally what's happened to Joe Burrow beginning of the season. No one is without it. It's just how long can you escape it? And then how do you bounce back from it? You know what I mean? That's really all that it should be. And so I don't love, but it's the NFL. I don't love jumping on a young rookie quarterback or second year quarterback the second they mess up.
Right.
It's just especially, and not that it's happening within the 49ers, externally it'll happen. I think there's a lot of support there. I think he's going to be good. I think having Trent Williams back and Debo back is going to open up the offense, but I would love to see way more pressure from the defensive line. That's very good. Has not been getting
and they just got freaking Chase Young. How many more pieces do the 49ers need?
Well, it helps when you don't pay for a quarterback.
That's true. That's a really good point because he's only making less than $1 million a year, which is crazy.
Yeah, I'd take it.
But yeah, I mean, for value wise, for making $900,000 a year, like heck freaking yeah. The thing is that's tough is like, and we didn't really get to see it last year because he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So in the divisional, so we didn't really get to see it last year. But
or in the NFC Championship.
Or sorry, the NFC Championship. But it sucks. It doesn't suck. It's just interesting to see how Brock Purdy is going to play in those drives where they need a touchdown. Mm-hmm. You know, they're behind. Like, what was that? They're 0-29 when trailing by 5 or more in the fourth, or whatever that stat is that Shanahan has. It's like, Shanahan's a great coach. There's no doubting that. And he has a great system. But what if you need someone to make a play? Like, what happens if you're down a touchdown with 3 minutes to go and you're in the NFC divisional? That's why I think I'm kind of hard on the 49ers, is because, like, I think they're a great team with probably more talent than arguably anyone else in the league from just like a position standpoint and like a player standpoint. I just think if they ever get down, though, it's going to be very tough for them to win a playoff game.
We will see how they bounce back after the bye. Mm-hmm. To me, that will say a lot. Yep. This is like a down stretch. It's like a firewall, get to the bye week, and then see how they recover. I'm right now not worried. I think they'll come back out of the bye and everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
Personally, that's what I think. I'm biased, yes, but that's what I think. If that doesn't happen, that's when I would start to worry.
Yeah.
But then I'll stay delusional. So who really cares?
Yeah. Like the Dolphins, baby.
Oh, yeah. Like the fact that the Dolphins and the Eagles weren't even competing, even though they were tied in the third quarter, that's not delusional.
It wasn't even a close game.
It wasn't even close when they were tied.
Yeah, I think it pretty much wraps it up. I don't really have much QB-wise. All I want to say is it's such a bummer Kurt went down.
I know.
And then, obviously, Joe Burrow. I mean, and you kind of hit what I was going to say, too, about Joe Burrow. You hit the nail on the head, which you were like, if Joe Burrow's mobile, watch out. Like, if he's avoiding sacks and, like, finding that third wide receiver, watch out.
Dude, so that's the other thing that I was saying about Dak Prescott a few weeks ago. I don't remember what episode it was.
Yeah.
I was saying, if Dak can start running again, he's going to be dangerous. And he started doing that again, and they are looking a whole lot better. So thanks for listening to me. I'm glad it's helping you.
There is. You don't want to obviously run too much as a QB and be injury prone, but there is such a big advantage in evading the pressure or avoiding the pressure and then having that third or fourth wide receiver to go to, man. Like Patrick Mahomes does it so well. And that's one of the reasons he's Patrick Mahomes, is because he can like buy time for himself and find other receivers. When Joe Burrow does that, when Jalen Hurts does that, I mean, they're unstoppable.
Well, yes, and it's the classic argument with like running and passing, where it's like if you have a good run, the linebackers come in, it opens up the pass. Yep. I think people don't think about it. That it works reverse ways. It's like if you have a good pass, sometimes they cheat back and it opens up the run.
Yep,
those things are true. But once it's established there, if you have a quarterback that's mobile, you can't cheat back in the same way you can.
Correct.
Against the quarterback that you're not
10
expecting
yards
it.
And
that's what you're starting to see.
Yeah.
Like, yes, NFL players are super fast that if it's not a really athletic quarterback and they start to run, maybe they'll get 5 yards or something, but they're not going to pick up the first down. If you're playing against someone that's quick, like that's a 12-yard run easily. And that's what Joe Burrow did this week, and Dak Prescott's starting to do some. And that just really changes the game plan. And then you have to start honoring that, and then that starts opening up some windows.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's why, I mean, I
did think Purdy did that pretty well too. He ended up with like 50 rushing yards or something like that.
Yeah, he did. He was their leading rusher.
Maybe not. For a while, he might have finished the game, but for a while.
And then last thing I'll say, quarterback Will Levis. I can't wait to watch him next few weeks. I think, dude, all of a sudden he finds a little chemistry with Hopkins.
Yep. Dangerous.
Also, Bryce Young.
Not super dangerous, but still somewhat.
Shout out to Bryce Young for getting his first NFL win. It's always good to get over that hump, right?
First game that there were the first, second, and third overall picks from the same year playing.
Who was the third again?
Will Anderson.
That's
from
right.
Texans. So that was interesting. Other thing I forgot to say, I can't believe I forgot to say this, but Christian McCaffrey.
It's an animal.
Another game with a
17,
touchdown.
17, right? 17 straight or something?
Record on record. He tied the NFL record with this game, I believe. So for most
one more,
consecutive
and
touchdowns.
you better play him in fantasy next week because they're going to be trying to get him a TD.
Also, even if they're not trying to, he's done it for an entire season straight now.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
He's unreal. Anyway, power rankings. Let's do this. You want to go first?
You go first this time.
This was a tough power rankings for me. There were a lot of teams that are getting really jumbled up for me. For instance, I left the Seahawks out of it. I wish that I could split it in 10, but what I did 10 instead is I went Bengals 10. You actually had Bengals at 10 and then you dropped them out. I put them in. I think now if they are in this
I didn't drop them out. I'm going to put them at 10 again.
You are? You're changing it?
I just decided.
You saw mine and then had to change it? Smart man. Smart man. Can't blame you there. So I think that the Bengals now, they're 4-3 and their offense looks good. I give them the edge over the Seahawks right now. Like if they were playing head to head right now this week, I'd go Bengals. Then 9 Bills. 8, I'm going to go the Lions. Again, this is where things are getting kind of murky. I wanted to see a little bit more in the Raiders game from them as a bounce back from the Ravens. And then Cowboys at 7. They played really well this past week after the bye. I'm going to go 49ers ahead because, again, when the Niners and the Cowboys played head-to-head, we saw what happened there. I think the Niners are going to be completely fine after the bye. It's not panic time yet, but they did drop 3, so I don't want to, but it has to drop them out of the top 5 because I'm a man of integrity. Integrity, Christian. Then 5, we've got the Jags. For the first time in history, in Jags history, winning 5 games in a month. But not as good as the number 4 pick, the Ravens. I'm still high on the Ravens. I think they're really good. They responded to injuries well this year. Lamar Jackson looks good. I'd give them the edge over the Jags right now. But again, a lot of these teams, 1 or 2 weeks can majorly mix this list up for me. Then 3 Chiefs, they're still the Chiefs. They could be 2, but I wanted to put Dolphins at 2. 1, because I think they might win head-to-head this week. And so I was like, well, is that a tiebreaker? We'll find out afterwards, obviously. But 2, because I know that you're out on the Dolphins.
Pissed me off you put them at 2.
You're out of the Dolphins.
No reason you should ever put the Dolphins at 2.
You're out of the Dolphins, and so I'm going to put them at 2 because I knew that you were not going to do that.
You've done it all season, and we'll see.
We'll see what happens. What are you going to do if they beat the Chiefs? You're going to flip your list immediately and put them at the top.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right, because then they actually prove they can beat a good
your list is like this, though. Boom, dong, dong, dong. And then number 1
it's starting to settle down.
Is the Eagles.
Yeah, that's fair, man. That's fair. So I'm still going to go Bills at 10. It just gets so jumbled for me. Like, I think the Bengals, if they win 1 or 2 more, they're probably honestly going to jump up, probably top 9, top 8.
Because if they play a couple games the way they just played this last game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're in the top 10. But it's like the Bills are still 5-3, even though they have a lot of answers to figure out. But they're still 5-3. Mm-hmm. So Bills, I think 49ers at 9. In fact, if they lose another game, it's going to be tough not to keep them in the top 10 because they haven't looked great. So I'm going 49ers at 9, Cowboys at 8. I think it's pretty fair. Seahawks at 7. I'm surprised you put them outside the top 10. They are such a sneaky good team this year. Obviously, Geno Smith with the comeback player of the year, whatever award he won last year, looking pretty good.
Well, the reason I did is because I think they're a wild card team for sure. Like, they'll probably win that round, and I think they would lose in their divisional round. So that's why I kind of based my rankings.
That's what I think about the Dolphins. And then we have Detroit Lions at 6. I think, once again, they're solid. I want to put them top 4, but the Ravens just kind of kept them out. Dolphins at 5. Obviously, I give Dolphins a lot of flack. Dolphins they're 6-2. They're a good football team. But until they seriously beat someone who is a top-tier NFL team in my mind, they just can't move past that 5 or 4 threshold. Now, if they beat the Chiefs, sure, I'd be happy to put them number 3. But until they actually beat a legit NFL playoff contender, I'm going to keep them there, maybe move them down, depending on the Chiefs game. Jags are starting to look like the real deal the last 3 games. Trevor Lawrence, dog. Number 3, Ravens. I think the Ravens are, especially if Lamar plays well, so sneaky good. And they have a serious chance, AFC Championship, I think, this year. Chiefs, bad game to the Broncos, but they're still the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, and then Eagles at 1.
That's fair.
Hurts me not putting the Bengals at 10.
It's tough. right now for me because
there's so many teams, I feel like, from that 5 to 12 that could almost be interchangeable depending on the week.
Well, and it's a weird time because records are close, even matchups are close. And so then you're looking at, or at least I'm looking at roster and who I think has the best chance of going deeper in the playoffs. And then like take the 49ers and the Bengals, for instance. Last year, the 49ers started out 3-3, or maybe it was even 3-4, and then they took off. So Bengals 3-3, taking off.
They could take,
like it could very easily happen. Same with the 49ers right now. They're in a rough patch, but that doesn't really mean anything. Like all the pieces are there. To me, the Ravens, for instance, they're almost outperforming in some ways where because of the injuries is like, that's what I thought beginning of the year, but then they lost like their running back. They lost all these pieces. The Jags are the same way where like, I don't see them. I could be wrong. People have picked it. I don't see them as a Super Bowl team this year.
Well,
I don't see them as a AFC championship team.
Dude, I don't know. That's tough. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's basically what I'm trying to do now is base this off of. It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. It gets jumbled.
This was the hardest week for me by far.
I agree. Because I wanted to put Bengals in. There's some tough calls that had to be made there.
Yeah. Picks time. After going 0-10, we bounced back. It wasn't a great week. We had a 500 week, but that's a lot better.
You were 3-2?
I was 3-2, and you were
2-3.
Bucks and Bills game. We both had something, and we both barely missed it.
Yeah.
The over was 42.5, and they scored 42 points, and you had Buffalo covering by 6.5, and they covered by 6. Or 7.5, and they covered by 6. When the Bucks scored the last touchdown, I was pumped because I was like, we will at least both lose, or I will cover them. And then overtime, very, very high scoring game. The Jets win 13-10. And then KC, we know how that happened. And then Tennessee covering and the Eagles covering. So I was 3-2, and then you.
Yeah, Bucks and Bills, same pick, or -7.5. Close. I thought that was a good pick. It was a freaking good pick, except for the garbage time Mike Evans touchdown in 2 minutes to go in the fourth.
That was not a garbage time touchdown, though, because they had a Hail Mary that actually landed in the end zone. That's what's crazy. How many times have you seen one that lands in the end zone?
Very rare.
Like, they could have fairly easily caught that.
Yeah. I thought the 49ers going to bounce back, but dude, Joe Burrow for the first time this season looked like that guy.
Like Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Texas Panthers, I had to keep riding it, so now I'm 1-4 and the Panthers covering.
Also, it sounded like he said the Texas Panthers. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool. Vikings covered against Packers. Vikings are, Kirk Cousins. Gosh dang. Eagles and Commanders. I figured it'd be a high-scoring game. I don't know why. Commanders always typically score points against the Eagles. Division rivalry. I don't know.
You want to run through your picks?
Yep. Cowboys and Eagles. Eagles take care of business on this one. They don't win by much, but they win by a touchdown. So they cover the -3. Dolphins at Chiefs. I think the Chiefs really take care of business here. Good bounce back week for the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes won't have the flu, hopefully. -2.5. Chiefs. Giants at Raiders. I think the over. I don't know what I'm thinking here. I just think the Raiders didn't play great against the Lions. And I think with Barkley and everything, the Giants are probably going to score 19 points and the Raiders are just going to score 18 or 21 or whatever. 18. Yeah, and they're going to cover. So the over 37.5 is what I'm taking. Giants and Raiders. This is going to be a blowout, low-key. Bills and Bengals. Bengals might as well keep it going. Bengals -2.5. Burrow plays like that, it might as well be -14. Chargers at Jets. Jets +3 to cover, I like, against the Chargers. I think the Jets defense is going to hold the Chargers offense at bay. Not crazy, but maybe I anticipate probably an 21-18 game. I guess that's a push, but that's what I was thinking in my head.
Interesting. I love this because I hate all of your picks.
Do you?
Actually, not all. The Cincinnati one.
I love how we had the opposite Chargers and Jets.
The Cincinnati one, I think it's a toss-up. I'm excited to watch that game. I think the Chargers, one pick I have the Chargers covering against the Jets. So I clearly don't like your pick of the Jets covering. I think that the Jets have been playing well. They've been hanging in games. But I think the Chargers offense is going to finally beat the Jets defense, and the Jets defense have been winning the games for them.
Correct, yeah.
Because, I mean, look at it. Like, the Giants barely squeaked in a field goal last second to go to overtime against the Giants. And the Giants offense versus the Chargers, very different. So the Bills and Bengals, I also have that game. I think that the Bengals will probably win, but I'm not sure. But what I like, it's a high over. but I like the over at 48.5. I think the Bills offense is going to show up and the Bengals offense is going to show up too. I also want that. So it's wishful thinking. Love that. The Giants and Raiders, I'm going to actually, I haven't decided which one I'm going to fade of yours yet. Because I almost took the under for that game because the Raiders offense does nothing and the Giants offense does nothing. They both have pretty good defenses.
That's why I think it's going to be a shootout.
I love that logic. What I'm going to do, the under I will take is the Commanders at the Patriots. Commanders offense only shows up against the Eagles.
Yep.
And the Patriots have a good defense and not a great offense. And so I'm going to take the under there. And then Dolphins at Chiefs, which is
you parlay
it's
this?
a Frankfurt. So I'm doing 2 parlays now that are around like 110.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because there were a lot of games this week that I didn't feel great on either way. Like it's really confusing to me. And so what I'm doing for this one is I like Tyreek Hill as an anytime touchdown scorer. And then I'm moving the line down and making the over 40.5.
Got it. Okay.
So that's my pick for the Dolphins and Chiefs. Because again, it's a Frankfurt game, international games. I'm kind of bummed that this is an international game.
I am too, actually. Yeah.
This could be a really good game. And then Patrick Mahomes coming off the flu and then traveling, that could be interesting. Then the last one I've got is Titans at Steelers. It's another little parlay. And we're moving the lines for the spread and the over-under. We're going to move it down to 30.5 and then take the over. And then we're going to move the line down to, or the spread down to plus 7.5 for the Titans to cover.
Okay.
I almost took the Titans straight up, but the Steelers are sneaky. You never know what's going to happen coming off a loss. How's Will Levis's second game going to go? Those kind of questions. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. I'm going to fade the Giants and Raiders, and I'm going to take the under. So far a record barely above 500. I'm 20-19, 3 for 3 though with the fades. And then you're 17 for 22. Just a tough week. You'll be back soon. 1 for 2 on the fades. Oh, sorry. 17, 22, and 1.
Yeah.
And then 1 for 2 on the fades.
I'm going to freaking...
You going to fade any of mine?
Yeah, I'm going to fade that Commanders to Patriots. I'm going over.
Ooh, that could be kind of fun.
Yeah. Just
saucy.
Not much logic, but...
Saucy.
What's up, guys? Mr. Incognito back at it. Got a couple big games this week coming up. First off, we're going to start with the lock of the week. Now, if at the beginning of the season, you told me that somebody was going to pick Clemson as a lock to lose a game this year, based on their schedule, I'd probably say you're crazy. But they play Notre Dame this weekend. Notre Dame's been playing really good ball. Clemson, on the other hand, is just imploding. They're not looking good. The line right now is 3 in Notre Dame's favor. I think that's super disrespectful. Just based on the way that Notre Dame's playing and the way Clemson's playing, I think Notre Dame just comes in to Clemson and just drags them. All right, next up, we got UGA, number 1, taking on number 15, Mizzou. UGA is a 15.5 favorite in this game, which is crazy considering Missouri is the number 15 team in the nation. Missouri's a really good football team. I think they're the best team that Georgia plays all year. I think Georgia wins this game, but I'm taking Mizzou to cover because 15.5 for the number 15 team in the nation who's played really well all year that's pretty crazy. Last game we got LSU traveling to Alabama in a game that may decide the winner of the Western Division of the SEC. Bama is a 3-point favorite in this game. I think probably rightfully so based on the way they've been playing as of late. Bama has a pretty stout defense. Their offense is a little shaky. LSU's offense is crazy good, but their defense is a huge question mark. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I'm taking LSU to pull off the upset this weekend and kind of pave their way to looking to potentially go into the SEC championship coming up soon. All right, guys, take those picks to the bank. Catch you next week.
All right, real quick baseball before we hit the draft. Got to tell you this. In Texas, got to watch Adolis Garcia hit a walk-off home run in the 11th. And
isn't that nuts?
I think it was when he came up in the 9th or before. I'm like, because he set the record for the most RBIs in the playoffs, right? With that one.
I think so, yeah.
So I was like, he's going to do it with the walk-off home run. Just, you know how you joke around with it. You're like, maybe I 30% believe that's going to happen, but that's probably too good to be true.
Yep.
And then I'm like, extra innings would be cool. It happens. All of this in Texas. That was a cool experience.
Yeah.
So I love
He's
that. Right
an
now,
animal too. Gosh,
yeah,
man.
Rangers are up 2-1 on the Diamondbacks. They're playing later tonight. Man, this has been a kind of fun series. I would love a Game 7.
I would love for the Phillies to be in this, but
I mean, all I got to say is I'm
who doesn't like a Game 7 though?
Who
World
doesn't
Series.
like that the Phillies and the Astros are not in this World Series? That's what we really
Astros,
love.
thank goodness.
Phillies, thank goodness. Anyway, draft. I'm excited about this draft. We're drafting. We're going to do 5 picks because there's so many things to choose from. But we're going to do the best things from the year 2008.
Okay.
I'm so 2008. You're so 2000 and
Who's
late.
that?
Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, that's who it is.
All right, so even episode. I've got the first pick. And I'm going to go with the orange Easton Stealth composite bat.
Oh, did that come out in 2018?
So I've seen some that said 2017 and some, or 2007 and some that said 2009.
Okay.
Whenever I search the bat, in every listing it says 2008 Easton Stealth. And that was what my thought was.
Yeah.
In the memory bank.
I hit a couple with those. A couple of the
Couple of dingers.
No, not really. I'm going to go with number 1 for me, Michael Phelps.
Ooh.
8 gold medals in the 2008, 2008.
The second time you said that. I think you said 2004. Oh, the 2008 Olympics?
Yeah. 8 gold medals. I mean, yeah, he smoked pot, but like, come on, man.
Dude, incredible. I mean, the bat is nostalgic. Michael Phelps winning 8 golds is legendary.
Yeah.
8 no 8.
8 no 8.
All right, I'm going into the realm of entertainment.
Oh.
The Marvel Universe was created with Iron Man's release in 2008.
That's right. That's a good one.
And that's like the Westerns of our generation.
Yeah.
Big deal.
That is a big deal.
Coming from 2008.
Yeah. I almost went Phillies are the 2018 world champions. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to say David Tyree's helmet catch that denied the perfect season. You remember that? When he caught it with his helmet?
So I was
in
gonna
the Super Bowl?
So I wasn't gonna go the helmet catch, but I was gonna go with the Giants beating the Patriots.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I've gained so much respect for Tom Brady over the years.
Yes.
I hated Tom Brady back then. Not as a person, just like
100%.
was so sick of them winning all the time. And so that was
100%.
legendary. So I actually had the game, but the helmet catches.
Yeah.
That's top tier.
It's so sick.
I'm gonna go Step Brothers, the movie. Iconic comedy.
Is it 2008?
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't know that. Since you're going movies, I got to go movies. You ready? High School Musical 3. 2008, baby.
I thought you were gonna say The Dark Knight.
No.
Oh man.
And shout out Entertainment Breaking Bad, but High School Musical
Well, since
3.
you're doing High School Musical, I'm gonna go Fearless. Taylor Swift came out that year.
Ooh.
You Belong With Me, Love Story.
Number 4 for me has to be Burning Up by the Jonas Brothers. I mean, how many times did I sing that as a kid?
And Disney would be loving you right now.
Burning up for you.
Should we go see the Jonas Brothers?
Baby. Don't you know them or something?
I'm tight with them. You know what? I'll keep it with music for the last one. I'm gonna go a little bum bum be dum bum 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 bum. Disturbia, the entire album by Rihanna, amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Think about
solid.
you're at the state fair with some Rihanna blasting, and as you're riding the little spinny, what are those called? Alpine car thing.
Yeah.
As fast as it goes, backwards, forwards.
all around.
Doesn't get better than that.
All around. All right. Last for me. God, I want to do something good. I was going to do the Twilight, but that's kind of stupid.
Role Models came out. The Dark Knight came out.
No.
Fool's Gold came out.
No.
Quantum of Solace came out. Taken came out. Liam Neeson.
No.
Tropic Thunder, I think, came out.
In 2008 and 2008, the Philadelphia Phillies won their second World Series,
I hate that.
but not in 2023.
I hate that. The helmet catch was a good one.
That was a good one. My first three were so solid, and then I just kind of fell off the wagon.
Yeah, the Michael Phelps one, I don't know how it slipped my list, but it
Yeah.
did. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to get the Giants beating the Patriots, but the helmet catch was a great part of it.
Arguably the most
High School Musical.
Moment.
A lot of good movies, though.
Yeah.
A lot of good music. Like a lot of both of those.
Yeah.
And a lot of good songs came out in 2007. Should we do another year next time?
Yeah, let's do one more modern so I know what's going on.
2020.
What happened in 2008? Or 2018?
What happened in 2020? Peace.